way in Ghana, you can't sell cocoa without the exchange. That is why you have standardized product. Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, what have you, they grow coffee. You can't just take coffee to the market there. So they get good value. And the government get what is deserved, because transactions that are not done through the exchange is not taxable. Revenues do not come to governments. So but it's a win-win thing. The people get value for their effort. That is why a farmer in Ghana, in quote, is richer than a farmer in Nigeria. Under the same condition, farm the same hectare of land, make the same product, because there is already a system in place that make him get value for his money. So this will expose us to it. There are 1 or 2 bills on warehousing is ongoing in the House of Reps and Senate. This will expose colleagues, because you can imagine you bring such idea that is not that familiar here without this kind of platform being so you are exposed to these practices and to help us to do the right law. So the essence of what we are saying today is that this platform will help legislators, more educated, more experienced, more enlightened, then help the market too, because everybody's under the same roof to judge all and come out with deliverables. Just like we did 2 years ago, we have responsibility for legislators, for executive, for regulators, for market players. We'll do the same too now and make sure we take them. And the master plan, fortunately for us, is in sync with what we are doing. The Capital Market Master Plan Mr. Kafo referred to. All we are doing now is still within those things that is covered by the Market Master Plan, trusting that in 10 years' time, we'll be able to say we have done reasonably better to have activate that, because without us activating the potential of capital market, potentials in capital market, I'm sorry, but that's my opinion, and I beg anybody to disprove me. Nigeria will not attain infrastructural development that desire. Because you can't get no country in the form infrastructure via direct budgeting. You cannot.
Yes, to go to the capital market. That is a very key and punchy one. Thank you so much, Syed. It's been an enlightening one. You just heard from the horse's mouth. They cannot overemphasize the need for you to be at this conference. This conference is slated for the 23rd of July. That's coming Monday, and then it's at Sheraton Hotels. You don't need to miss it. The lawmakers will be there, the SEC will be there, the Nigerian Commodity Market will be there. This is a full packed assembly. This is a full packed conference that I'm sure will definitely move the Nigerian economy further. For this, it's a wrap, and we're going to go join the main news. Do stay.
Did you know that PTV remains the best place to showcase those lovely goods and services of yours? Yes, with our visibility in 36 states of Nigeria and over 50 countries of the world, we definitely have the talent reach. What are you waiting for? Book your adverts now. Call us with the number displayed on your screen.
watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
Agbára iná ni. Yóò sọ wọ́n lè jọ́ lè.
To PTV Today, I am Daniel Waboso. President Muhammadu Buhari is seeking the approval of federal lawmakers for 242.4 billion naira to fund the 2019 elections. In a letter sent to the National Assembly, he wants the amount drawn from the 2018 and 2019 budgets. President Buhari specifically urged the lawmakers to transfer funds appropriated for new projects in the 2018 budget to cover 228.8 billion naira for the elections.
The total amount required to be provided for in the 2018 budget for the 2019 general election and to restore the identified critical projects to the amount earlier proposed is therefore 228,854,008,215 naira. Implementing a budget of 9.12 trillion for 2018 will be extremely challenging, and therefore I do not consider it expedient to propose a further increase to the size of the 2018 expenditure framework to fund these very important and critical expenditure items.
President Muhammadu Buhari is rallying support of the International Community Criminal Court of Justice in the fight against corruption and illicit financial flows by state actors. Buhari made the appeal while delivering his keynote address at a solemn hearing to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Rome Statute of the ICC at The Hague. The president also assured the international community of a free, fair and peaceful election in 2019. The Netherlands authorities have pledged to support Nigeria on the best approach to restore the Lake Chad basin. Prime Minister Mark Rutte told President Buhari of a plan to establish a technical committee to work with Nigeria on it. Both leaders discussed the shrinking of the lake as well as the war against insurgency in the northeast. Other issues of mutual interest include climate change, economic cooperation, and the fight against corruption. Many leaders of the All Progressives Congress are convinced that Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom will be convinced to remain in the party. On EOF, one of them is the National Auditor, George Moghalu, who described Ortom's comments as pure politics, which will soon be resolved. He argued that it was normal to have differences within a political party.
Politics is happening. It's all about interest. I keep telling people APC is like every other human organization. Interest will certainly at one point or the other clash. So what I think now that's happening is politics, and I think it's going to be resolved. That's my confidence. By the grace of God, will be resolved, and then we'll come back to where we are. The important thing is that interests must clash, and the issue here is to what extent I even manage the interests. So I'm sure that we have the capacity to manage the interests, and I'm very confident that in a matter of days, those issues will be resolved. We like Otom so much. We also like the George Akume and all the leaders so much. We need everybody because it's a big political family. We don't want to lose anybody. We're going to bend over backwards to make sure that everybody is accommodated. We'll visit, we'll consult to make sure that everybody is accommodated. So for me, nothing new has happened.
The ruling All Progressives Congress has condemned the recent killings in Sokoto State. The party is also worried that the killings has continued unabated. This was the position of the national chairman of the party, Adams Oshiomhole, when he met with members of the National Working Committee in Abuja. Oshiomhole charged security organizations in the country to do all within their capacity to guarantee that they are competent to protect lives and properties of Nigerians. Back to the Senate now, where the Senate has confirmed the former Inspector General of Police, Muslim Smith, as the chairman of the Police Service Commission, PSC. It also confirmed Justice Clara Ogubi and former Assistant Inspector General of Police, Lawal Bawa, as full-time commissioners of the PSC. 4 members were confirmed as non-full-time members.
The screening of former IG Smith and others was done about a week ago. Now the Police Service Commission has a new chairman and members. This was after the Senate had approved the report presented by the Committee on Police.
Now the committee said, and all the senators from Lagos attended the meeting, and they gave full support to the IG, retired IGP. And on page 3, his CV has been analyzed, and the posts he held were mentioned. As a committee, after consideration, after almost 2 hours of gruesome questionings, the committee came to the conclusion that is very suitable for appointment as the chairman of the Police Service Commission, and so recommended.
Lawmakers took turns to commend the chairman and members of the commission.
When we are facing numerous security challenges, Mr. President, I want to take this opportunity to urge this new set of the Police Service Commission to reward dedication and commitment by our police. Whoever excels and does patriotic actions should be rewarded. Promotions should be as free as possible to encourage our police, and many of them are doing very well.
I want to implore the Senate President and my colleagues that we shouldn't waste too much time on passing this motion, or let me say the report of the commission, of the committee, because the police reform that we've been agitating for, if we go by the composition of this committee, of this commission, definitely we will witness better management of our police force by way of providing welfare, equipment, and other necessities.
For his part, Senate President Bukola Saraki urged the new chairman and members of the Police Service Commission to properly position the police for the task ahead.
Distinguished colleagues, on behalf of all of us, let us congratulate the new members of the Police Service Commission, and at the same time commend the quality of the candidates that have been nominees that are brought forward by Mr. President. It gives us also a lot of hope and encouragement that all our efforts to see that this critical aspect of our security architecture, the necessary reform, will begin with this process. We wish all the members the best of luck. They have a lot of expectations from Nigerians. Before this nomination, And that is why we ensure that we fast-track nomination. A lot of people are expecting, with their experience, the capacity of the people who are now in the Service Commission, will support the police to carry out the necessary reform that's required, particularly in ensuring that we drive a merit-orientated police force, performance-driven, that will motivate all the necessary members to do the right thing in providing security.
The confirmation comes less than 2 months after President Buhari sought confirmation of former Inspector General of Police Musliu Smith as the PSC chairman.
In a related development, President Muhammadu Buhari is seeking the confirmation of a former legal advisor of the All Progressives Congress, Muiz Banire, as chairman of the governing board of the Assets Management Corporation of Nigeria, APCON. The request was contained in a letter read by Senate President Bukola Saraki at Tuesday's plenary. The president also sought the confirmation of chairman and 12 commissioners of the Federal Civil Service Commission. Still on the House of Representatives, where the House of Reps has vowed to unravel the mystery surrounding the whereabouts of all recovered looted funds and assets from 1999 to 2016. Speaker Yakubu Dogara made the pledge at the opening of a public hearing on the status of recovered public funds and assets organized by the Joint House Committee on Public Accounts and Finance. Emmanuel Ehijene reports.
It is a public hearing on recovered assets and funds. The probe, according to the federal lawmaker, is based on the need to ascertain how the funds are appropriated. Speaker Yakubu Dogara argued it is the only way to restore public confidence in the Buhari administration's fight against corruption. He was represented by Deputy Whip of the House.
I urge all stakeholders present to be patriotic, truthful, and honorable in their submissions. This issue is capable of eroding the credibility of the present government as an accountable and open administration. We should all give the issue the seriousness it deserves. I want to also call on the committee to be expedient and efficient in handling this assignment so that before long the House will have a credible report that can be presented to the people of Nigeria.
For their part, the committee members maintained that it was not a witch hunt.
It is worthy to note that recent statements by government on recovered looted public funds running into millions of dollars and billions of naira, including assets found both locally and internationally, could appear contradictory and outrightly confusing. Therefore, it is the mandate of this committee to unravel these knotty areas, the details and certainty of these looted treasuries, and make sure the details are succinctly known to all Nigerians. The fight against corruption must be total and holistic. This is to clear all doubts and put to rest the veracity or otherwise of the insinuations that recovered loots are relooted.
On ground to provide necessary information are government auctioneers. They also have their concerns.
There is a need to sanitize the practice of auctioneering in Nigeria. Because overseas, we see that they could make trillions of naira from auctioning in Nigeria than going to borrow. Why are we borrowing? When properties are lying down all over the places unaccounted for. There is no accountability in the process and in everything they are doing.
There is no coordination between the agencies of government. Like we have a situation right now where we were invited by EFCC to submit our applications, which we did, and the process has been ongoing for about 8 to 9 months now. And we had several meetings with them, and we actually signed an agreement with EFCC. As we were waiting for EFCC, Defense, Ministry of Defense, now engage some of our members on the same items we had an agreement with EFCC that they should go and auction for them.
But if an agency was created to just handle this, it saves tracking for government because they're speaking to one person. There is the likelihood of having the same asset being duplicated in the 3 different MDAs would be eradicated. And I think it also would create that transparency that is needed, where everybody has assured that what government is doing, they're being transparent in the process.
A number of government agents expected at the hearing failed to show up. The lawmakers, however, resolved to formally invite the agencies like the CBN, the DSS, ICPC, EFCC, and the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation to the next sitting, stated for July 24th. They are expected to appear with a brief to enable the committee filing its reports. Emmanuel Ehijine, PTV News, Abuja.
The House of Representatives has also urged the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, to beef up security in 16 communities in the Adamawa Southern Senatorial District. This followed a motion on the matters of urgent public importance by Representatives Abdul Razak Namdas at the plenary. Namdas said the call followed some reprisal attacks that led to loss of lives and properties worth millions of naira. The lawmaker expressed concerns that the attacks had so far claimed more than 15 lives and displaced over 3,000 people, mostly women and children. The motion was unanimously adopted when it was put to a voice vote by Speaker Yakubu Dogara. The House also observed a minute's silence in honor of those who lost their lives in the attack. Away from the National Assembly now, the Middle Belt Forum has joined groups from southern Nigeria in demanding for restructuring. It has resolved to back calls by the Yoruba Sociocultural Group Afenifere and its Igbo counterpart Ohaneze for true federalism. This from the basis of discussions at the Middle Belt Conference in Makadi, Benue State.
This is the latest rally for the restructuring of Nigeria. The organizers styled it as a mega rally that was to have representatives of ethnic nationalities from southern Nigeria, but flight challenges meant that the other groups failed to turn up. This did not prevent speakers from tabling their positions on restructuring.
That corruption doesn't stop in just money. Killing an innocent person is also part of corruption, and even a worse corruption. You come into a farm, you meet a family of 10, they are sleeping, you slaughtered all of them. What do you call that? Somebody steals 1 million, you lock him up. Somebody kills 10 people, he is freed. I don't know which of the two crimes is worse. We must propel our people to achieving positivity. We must propel our people to achieving something that is desirable. We must propel our people with the genius they have, with the ingenuity they have, to produce something that the world outside there will come into Nigeria and copy.
It is very, very sad. And this is why we are calling for restructuring. Because this cannot continue. Nobody is above the laws of the land. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is supreme. And people should not target individuals and groups and begin to victimize them. The law should not be respecter of persons, and no one should be a sacred cow.
For the Middle Belt Forum, there is a need for individuals and groups in that part of the country to back the demand.
The policy of selective creation of ranches to settle foreign Fulanis in the Middle Belt and the South rather than in the North is unacceptable to us. The Fulani invaders are currently occupying all the settlements of the communities they have attacked, leaving the original inhabitants of those communities in IDP camps I call on the federal government to urgently chase these terrorists out and return the original inhabitants to their ancestral lands.
Some groups that are opposed to the restructuring believe that Nigeria's problems centered around leadership, but these Nigerians are convinced that a united front is needed in the Middle Belt to champion a common goal.
Similarly, the Nigerian Air Force has denied claims that it prevented a chartered flight from landing at its base in Makurdi on Monday for political reasons. The Southern and Middle Belt Forum had alleged that the Air Force authorities denied those landing rights in Makurdi to attend a Middle Belt Summit on restructuring. But Air Force spokesman Air Vice Marshal Olatokunbo Adeshanya said in a statement that no written request was made for landing rights for the chartered aircraft. This, he said, was after the Air Force headquarters had earlier granted approval for another aircraft, which was later said to have some issues. Some aggrieved members of the All Progressives Congress in Edo State have expressed their discontentment with the leadership style of the Governor Godwin Obaseki. The grouse of the youths was that had not been included in the affairs of government. Kingsley Eben reports this from our studios.
In September 2016, Godwin Obaseki was democratically elected as the governor of Edo State. And in his speech after he was sworn in, Obaseki promised to run an all-inclusive government. But few years into his administration, these youths say that the promise has not been kept.
Our present governor is behaving to us and putting on fire shame by neglecting his political leaders in Ekiti, by neglecting the people that stand for Ekiti to remain Ekiti. I want to tell you, my people, we don't want what happened in Ekiti to happen in Edo State. That is why we are calling on the entire Benin people to make the Excellency Obaseki the present governor of Edo State. That the leaders of APC that stand so firm to make sure we succeed are being neglected in this party and the entire state as we speak.
They also accused the governor of appointing individuals from other states into his cabinet rather than engaging the youths.
2 years ago, I saw that nothing had changed. There was a lot of people on the streets that they didn't have jobs, nothing right was going on. And instead of him to have brought what he learned from America here to better our nation and our state, he just made it worse. You have to give them something that they can do. You have to give them a job so that they won't be wandering the streets, so that their future can be better and they have something to do and something to teach them to do.
2.5 years now, all the youth are all angry. You talk, you die. You not talk, you die. We are tired of knocking the wall about the job. You can't bring people outside of those days. You put them as a principal officer, you make the youth or the masses as well as the laborer. We have a lot of educated people, PhD, BSc, etc., etc. You can't make people to be a fool. If you don't like the dumb people, you don't like the new people, tell us, open up. Are you a racist? If you are a racist, let us know. The youth are tired.
Responding to the aggrieved youths at the press center in Benin, the NUJ chairman assured them of passing their grievances through various media.
And on behalf of our members, we welcome you. We always respect you. Anytime you come, this is your house. Anything you do, we always give an information to you.
At the end, the youth urged Governor Obaseki to engage them meaningfully for better development in the state. Paulum David, PTV News, Abuja.
All Progressives Congress plans to pick its gubernatorial candidate for the September 22nd elections through direct primaries. This, according to APC National Chairman Adapto Shomole, is the proper way to choose the best among 17 aspirants that have shown interest. He said this after the party's National Working Committee meeting in Abuja. More details will come in our subsequent bulletin. Moving on now, a Plateau State High Court has adjourned the trial of former Governor Jonah Jang to October 30th. This is because of the prosecution's failure to produce witnesses. Jang is standing trial for alleged misappropriation of state funds to the tune of 6.3 billion naira. The matter, which was slated for trial on Tuesday, could, however, not hold as the prosecution's witnesses were absent in court when the matter was called. Henry Ejiga, who stood in for EFCC counsel Rotimi Jacobs, told the court that the prosecution had challenges in bringing the witnesses to court. This he blamed on security concerns in the state. The lawmaker asked the court for the lawyer, as a court for an adjournment, but Jang's counsel, Robert Clark, argued that it was a way to delay trial. Justice Longi granted the prosecution's prayer and adjourned to October 30th. Former Abia State Governor Orji Uzor Kalu has been rearraigned at the Federal High Court in Lagos on an amended 39-count charge bordering on fraud. This was after the EFCC prosecutor Rotimi Jacobs informed the court of a second further amended charge. But Kalu's defense team opposed the amended charge on grounds that it was not in the accordance with the provision of the law. In a short ruling on Tuesday, Justice Mohammed Idris held that the prosecution could amend the charge. After the court ruling, Kalu and his then Commissioner of Finance, Udeogo Eruje, were rearranged on new charges. Each pleaded not guilty. The court allowed them to continue with the earlier bails granted. It also adjourned the case until July 25th for the defense team to argue its no case submission. The federal government has flagged off the technical support program for State Primary Health Care Board. The purpose of the exercise is to curtail the persistent challenges in delivering of health services at the state and local government levels. Emmanuel Bagudu was there.
This is the flag-off of the technical support program aimed at providing sufficient health products and services to states and local governments. And for the Minister of Health, Isaac Adeoli, the program is coming at a time when the world is focusing on health improvement at the primary level.
We must continue to work harder to bequeath an enviable health sector to our people. Let me add that the Federal Ministry of Health has a key role of formulating and implementing health policies that will ensure the delivery of quality and effective healthcare services to all Nigerians. To achieve this, government and partners have developed the National Strategic Health Development Plan 2, which is a robust 5-year roadmap for the Nigerian health sector. NSHIP 2 is geared towards increasing access, improving health outcomes, and achieving universal coverage across the country.
Other areas the program is expected to improve on include delivery of vaccines in right quantities, coordination of technical assistance, amongst others.
Primary Healthcare Development Agency cannot succeed without working with the executive secretaries, right? So all of this is a program that we're starting off, but at some point I know that there were engagement with executive secretaries around what the priorities will be. Moving forward, we're establishing a steering committee that will have executive secretaries of State Primary Health Care Board as part of that steering committee, so that they can also give real life situations of what's happening in the states and the LGAs.
Now that the technical support program for the State Primary Health Care Board has been launched, Nigerians will only hope that the initiative will strengthen healthcare service delivery to the grassroots in Nigeria. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
Still on some health matters now, the prevalent rise in infant mortality across Edo is becoming a source of worry to stakeholders across the state. And to reduce the rise in death rates, stakeholders have charged government and relevant authorities to prioritize primary healthcare services in the state. This, they claim, will help reduce the scourge and enhance prompt response to emergencies. More details in our subsequent bulletin. Nigeria is set to unveil the name and logo of the new national airline on Wednesday. The unveiling will be done at Farnborough Air Show in London. The conference is the meeting place for aircraft manufacturers, engine manufacturers and aircraft leasing companies, aviation consultants and marketers. Minister of State for Aviation Hadi Sirika said he would explore every opportunity available at the air show to attract more prospective investors into the Nigerian aviation environment. The minister added that by December 19, the first 5 aircraft of the airline would be delivered. Overall, some business stories where federal lawmakers are bracing up for the second Capital Market Stakeholders Forum. To this end, a delegation including capital market regulators visited People's Television headquarters in Abuja. The forum is a follow-up to the maiden one in 2016. Emmanuel Hijine reports. We'll go on a short break now. When we come back, foreign and sports stories after the break. Welcome back. Over now to foreign, where Sudan has launched a polio vaccination campaign targeted at about 3 million children nationwide. Health Minister Bahar Garada disclosed this in a joint statement with World Health Organization and UNICEF. The vaccination will cover 10 Sudanese states, including Khartoum and all the 4 states. Sudan remains a country exposed to polio as it shares borders with many countries where the disaster spreads. The UN Human Rights Office has called on the Nicaraguan government to provide information on the 2 activists missing. It also wants the country to open all prisons to monitors. UN called for a halt to violence that has taken 280 lives within 3 months, overwhelmingly perpetrated by the Nicaraguan state and local loyal armed elements. Violence has gripped Nicaragua since April 18th, where citizens took to the streets to reject a pension proposal by President Daniel Ortega. Though the plan was withdrawn, protesters continue to rally against government's repression and have demanded Ortega's resignation. Since then, the Inter-American Human Rights Commission has confirmed that 264 people have died and 1,800 more have been wounded during the government's crackdown. The first one-on-one meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin is eliciting mixed reactions from global experts. The experts highlighted the meeting's